folks, we have a lot to get to in today's episode, so let's jump right in. And we begin with brand new details from recent interviews with Hasbro's G.I. Joe team. Let's save you a few hours of your day and share with you only the relevant pieces. In terms of how Classified is going, Lenny from the G.I. Joe team said, "There's more to come. More characters to get to and to add to the line. They have plans to expand the universe even bigger, including secondary builds like Quick Kick's Fudgy Bar, for example." Lenny said they've been working on developing the G.I. Joe Classified line since 2017, even though it only debuted in 2020-21. In terms of challenges that they faced, Emily from the G.I. Joe team said that she thinks re-establishing the brand's fan base was the biggest challenge. And then, as usual, she responded to a question about what challenges they've faced by immediately bragging about how amazing she thinks she and the rest of the team are. Not the question asked, but let's go ahead anyway. She said, "The His Tank campaign was one of the biggest turning points for the line. It was funded in 8 hours and 41 minutes, which is the HasLab record for the fastest funded HasLab campaign so far, and that this got the attention of upper management at Hasbro." Lenny then stepped in and got things back on topic and answered the question. He said that they make a complicated action figure with secondary gear, parts and pieces which fit together, magazines that fit, and holsters with straps which plug in. He said that developing the line during the pandemic was both frustrating and a learning experience. Then Tony from the G.I. Joe team said, "The biggest challenge has been the pressure of making the line successful, keeping it successful, and trying to please everyone." He acknowledged that while not everyone can be made happy, they're doing a good job of pleasing enough people. He said one of the biggest compliments they've received from people is when they say that they were out of collecting action figures altogether, but the G.I. Joe Classified line brought them back in. Emily said, in 2023, they were facing a 6-month delay of not having any product on shelves. So as a result, collectors received a year's worth of Classified product just last fall. On to packaging. Emily said the current look will stay for a while, and this is what G.I. Joe Classified will look like going forward. Of note, they've had 4 different packaging looks in just the last 2 years. In terms of how they plan the line, Lenny said they plan out the year first, then their budget determines which figures get made and which ones don't. If they can't afford to make a figure the way they want, they delay those figures for a later time, and in the meantime, replace them in their list with other figures instead. We've already seen them do this with characters like Dr. Mindbender, Storm Shadow, and Sci-Fi. In terms of how characters are selected for the line, Emily said they focus on what they hear fans are missing in their collections. Then they consider their own opinions of what would fit well with sub-teams. What tooling can they reuse, and how much would the figure cost? In terms of how much research Emily has done on G.I. Joe, Emily said the first time she saw G.I. Joe the movie was in the theaters during the 2022 limited showing. Emily then spoke at length about Ice Cream Soldiers, so we'll spare you from that part of the discussion as well. And before we move on, we invite you to quickly do us a favor and smash that like button to show your support for the show and the work that we put into it. Then over to universal ball joints for heads. Will Hasbro ever get this on track? Lenny said, going forward, 99% of figures should have universal ball joints that are the same size. And Tony added, sometimes production, meaning the factories which produce the lines, will change things, so they're not quite perfect. Then in terms of some figures, one of them that they spoke about was the Night Creeper. Lenny said, the Night Creeper version 2 head was included because eventually in the future, they'll likely get around to making Night Creeper version 2 the figure. Now, he didn't seem too interested in this, but he did acknowledge that this is something they'll likely get to at some point. In terms of pets and animal companions, Lenny said, when he was a kid, he played with the G.I. Joe animals with all of his toys, not just G.I. Joe. So when Hasbro began making G.I. Joe Classified, he wanted to bring animals to the 1/12 scale. He said that Japanese toy makers make some animals, but it's not common for most lines. So he thinks that animals add variety to the Classified line and make it stand out. Next over to Night Force Shockwave and the Night Pursuit Cycle. Lenny said, the Night Force Shockwave is his preferred version of Shockwave. As a kid, he thought the Night Force edition made more sense color-wise. The Classified Night Force Shockwave is not verbatim the same as the original back in the 80s, but he wanted to give Shockwave the digital camo on his outfit. He also pointed out that the Night Force Shockwave is different from the regular Shockwave, as this one has pinless joints. He wanted this Shockwave to be more badass, so having a SWAT team member who arrives on a beefed-up motorcycle was very appealing to him. The background images for Night Force Shockwave's packaging were set in a jungle, because Hasbro has a separate team which makes graphic designs, and he said that in this case, things didn't go as planned. They wanted to have a city scene backdrop for Shockwave, but they didn't have the budget for new graphic scenes to be made, so they reused some jungle graphics which were already available. Storyline-wise for Night Force, Lenny said that things are getting scary and crazy, so you need a badass to come in, and that's Shockwave. He also pointed out that there's a griffin painted on the side of the Night Pursuit because it represents the protectors of treasure and the world. Shockwave is supposed to be the cavalry that comes to the rescue of the Joe team. Then for the Cobra Ferret ATV, Lenny said they didn't want to pair the Ferret with a named character like Storm Shadow, so they needed a new driver. The Ferret Scout was inspired by them wanting to create an ATV driver with a look that makes sense. They like to offer drivers with vehicles because of the price point. Emily said if you buy a box, they want you to have a complete play experience with whatever's inside the box. This is why their opinion is to include drivers with vehicles. Lenny said that the Cobra Ferret ATV does not have a turning mechanism for the steering handles. This is different from the original back in the 80s. He said it would have cost too much to add that turning mechanism, so instead, those vehicles just have suspension added to the wheels, which is similar to the VAMP, but again, there's no steering mechanism at all, so those front wheels do not turn side to side. He said the original Ferret was huge compared to the size of the O-ring figures, so they wanted to make the classified version of the Ferret just as big. Another difference, he said they put a rack on the back instead of a removable console piece like the original. And there are also blast effects portholes on the back. He said that the diorama image of Clutch burying the Ferret Scout's helmet was not the original image that Hasbro's photographer took. This image is cropped, which explains why it looks so zoomed in. Emily elaborated on this. She said that the original image taken showed something that they could not show, heavily implying that it showed Clutch burying the dead body of a Ferret Scout. She said that nobody dies in G.I. Joe, so they couldn't use that image as is, and it had to be edited. Over to Wreckage. Lenny said he wanted to update the Tiger Force camo and make it more intense than the 80s look. And he also added that Wreckage can be a troop builder if you want him to be. Tony pointed out that Wreckage has heterochromia, which is the presence of different colored eyes in the same person. Wreckage has one blue eye and one green eye. Emily said there were miscommunications with the release of the Tiger Paw pre-orders, and that they'll never do another surprise pre-order again. In the future, there will always be a heads up, or at least 24 hours notice. And she said that there will be additional quantities available of the Tiger Paw and Wreckage in store at Target closer to the shipping date. Then in terms of the new Skybound Comics series and whether there's any overlap with the way the characters look in the comics and the way that they might look in Classified, Emily said she can't speak to future releases, but she implied that the appearance of characters in the Skybound Comics will be close to what their Classified figures will look like. In terms of retro-carded packaging, Emily said if they are doing retro-accurate figures, they will have retro-accurate card backs. So if it's a Night Force figure, it will have Night Force logos on the retro card packaging. Same thing for all the other sublines. So this is confirmation that in the future, the retro card line will be expanding to include other sublines like Tiger Force, Python Patrol, Night Force, and others. And they added that retro figures from sub-teams will have more of the appearance of the original figures from back in the 80s. Then over to the VAMP. Will the VAMP be restocked? Emily said it depends where they are in a production run. She wouldn't commit to an answer here, but she did say if there's enough demand, they might consider a second run of the VAMP. But mostly, it doesn't sound like it's currently in their plans. So let's turn this back to you. What are your thoughts here on the new information shared by the Hasbro team? Lenny has said that more characters are going to be joining the line. They've got plans to expand the universe. They've got plans to bring in new secondary builds similar to Quick Kick's Fudgy Bar, which should include more references to the cartoon series and possibly the comics. The packaging will finally stay the way it is for at least a while. And going forward, most figures will have universal ball joints, which makes it easier to swap heads and kit bash new characters out of existing parts. In the past, the ball joints have been all over the map, and many parts and pieces just don't fit together. The Cobra Ferret ATV's wheels do not turn, but they do have suspension. Let us know how you feel about that. Would you rather have a turning mechanism or the suspension if you could only have one? It sounds like Hasbro's saying they could only afford to put one of those in the budget, and they already had the suspension from the VAMP wheels, so they weren't going to spend any new money on creating a new turning mechanism. It's confirmed, as we've been telling you for a while, future vehicles will have a driver included. The horrible mess of the pre-order rollout for Tiger Paw and Wreckage, Hasbro's saying that they will never do a surprise pre-order like that again. They heard it loud and clear from a lot of disgruntled fans, so I guess the message is received for now. It was also heavily implied that several characters in the Skybound comics will appear very close to their classified counterparts. And it doesn't sound like there will be a second production run of the VAMP. That said, the Cobra Stinger should be out sometime soon, or at least later this year, and there are other vehicles on the way. Let us know your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. We definitely want to hear from you on all of this, so sound off in the comments below. And now stay tuned because we have a brand new unboxing and review of a brand new G.I. Joe Classified figure. Folks, it's mail time. Alright, now it's time for another package, and this one comes to us from friend of the show, MVP Michael G. This is going to be fun. Let's get right into it. Here we go.
Oh my god, it's the VAMP!
Oh!
The plastic window on the... Oh, it's so... The plastic window on the packaging looks really cool. He's over here.
That's very cool. Holy!
Thank you so much.
The VAMP and Clutch. Dex, what do you think right away?
Look at the art on the side.
This is cool. Whoa!
In the back, you can see the ferret with its driver, which looks amazing.
Yeah, well, that'll be coming soon too. Whoa, this looks wicked. This is the biggest G.I. Joe vehicle so far that's not a HasLab. Clutch and the VAMP, had it when I was a kid. First vehicle.
Oh my god, I can see the wheels
wow.
already. You can take the figure out.
I'll happily take Clutch. This guy looks wicked.
He looks amazing, but when you got this ginormous vehicle.
Alright, hold on. Check him out, Dex.
He looks so good. Like
really
the face
good.
sculpt on there. This thing is humongous.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. This face sculpt on Clutch looks a lot cleaner and more realistic and better sculpted than a lot of other figures that we've seen so far in the line. I think we're headed in the right direction now, folks. I'm very impressed with this guy. I've already had some people reaching out to me asking if it's worth getting Clutch, just like buying him off to someone else on eBay. That's up to you guys. But does he look good? Yeah. Yeah, this one's great to have. Okay, we got to get into all of this. This is going to be great. Are you kidding me? Wow. So cool. So while Dex is getting the VAMP ready, big shout out to MVP Michael G.
Thank you so much.
He's helped us get some of the exclusives that we didn't have any other way of getting. Thankfully, Hasbro improved things for people outside the US, not for... Thankfully, Hasbro improved things recently for Canadians and other people outside the US, but definitely for Canadians here.
The window pops down.
That's really cool.
That is so cool. This thing looks amazing.
And as a result, Canadians now when you spend over a certain amount, I'm not sure what it is, you get free shipping. You don't even have to be a Hasbro Premium Pulse member or anything like that. So things went from really bad to all of a sudden really good with Hasbro Pulse for Canadian collectors. So going forward, we should be able to get things like this on our own. The timing of things didn't work out super great. So for those of you who haven't gotten the VAMP yet, it comes as the big body mold of the vehicle, and then the wheels are separate, and it's as simple as this. You just take the tire, line it up, pop it on. There you go. Very easy. Oh man, this looks wicked.
The turret is awesome. Wait, this is the Action Soldiers. He has the Action Soldiers machine gun. You can't really see it.
Yeah,
that's
the Modus.
Yeah, and there's two of them that you just attach on top of the turret.
Whoa! Check this out.
And they're squishy. Pass it.
That's cool.
I need to check this thing out.
Very nice.
Check it out.
So in terms of Clutch, he looks wicked. He's got a helmet of his own. He's got a standard issue G.I. Joe helmet here. Pop that off. And you don't even have to take his head off here because you can place the steel core helmet right over top of his head sculpt. I like that. Let's get more of that. Okay, so we just finished putting all the accessories on here, building it. The tires are on. Clutch is behind the wheel. We got Mutt holding onto a handle here. Snake Eyes on the back, Sergeant Slaughter hanging off the driver's side.
It's awesome.
Oh my god, this is a dream come true. I had this thing when I was a kid. By the time I was done with mine, it was in like 5 different pieces. Pretty standard back in the 80s for G.I. Joe vehicles if you were playing with them. There's a working winch on the very front here.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Then the mirrors actually have like a reflective seal that you can see on the other side, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty clear too. Mm-hmm. And then what about the console there? Tell us everything that's on the inside, Dex.
There's a flashlight there. There's like some play and pause buttons. Then there's a little range thing that can tell you like what's in the distance.
Like a rangefinder?
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of buttons for audio. And then what else is there? Then the like speed, that sort of stuff. And when you lift up the hood, you can see the engine underneath, and it's super cool. And then you can just pop it back down.
Yeah, I think the engine pops out. We tried pulling it out. It seems like it's
difficult.
Probably possible, but there's probably a way to do it. We'll figure that out. The double turret on the back with the 250 cal machine guns. That's awesome. There's a lot of different ways to customize this out there on third-party sites. It does get really pricey, especially with the shipping. It adds up fast. Overall, I don't even think you need all that stuff. That's just extra. This on its own is awesome.
It is.
I can't stop looking at it. It's amazing.
My favorite part about this whole thing is just the car itself and how it can actually like move forward. Like you don't even need all the extra accessories. You can just have it plain, and it's amazing, and I would love it.
Yeah, and with the suspension and the rubber wheels, it moves really smoothly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it. Like, you roll it across any surface, it's got great traction, very smooth. The rubber wheels, you can like squeeze them. This is everything that we wanted, and we were hoping that Hasbro would give us, especially the rubber wheels instead of like straight up plastic. Clutch overall, I mean, we're kind of overlooking him because we've got an awesome VAMP right here, but what do you think about Clutch there, Dex? We've got him with his hands on the wheel. Very easy to do, by the way. Just pop down that front windshield, and you can control his hands a lot easier. And there are handles that go on the side of the Jeep. Those just pop onto the side, just like the front headlights.
And there's a little bit of a blue tint on the top of the windows.
Yeah. I think Clutch has one of my favorite head sculpts in the Classified series so far. He's got wrinkles on his forehead, he's got some bags under his eyes a little bit, his vest appears to be completely all new, he's got a US flag on the side of his right shoulder.
It's we have Hawk right here, and it's the exact same shotgun as, like, they look identical, just one. This one is a lot better because it has more paint on it.
I think you're right. I can't recall if that's the same as CoverGirl's, but either way. Now, he has a brand new holster on his right thigh, and this is a tool belt.
My favorite part, like just another thing that I really love about this, is you can see the engine through the hood of the car here, and with all the accessories that are just on the hood that you can just easily take off, but then they're still snug when you keep it on there. And then how the wheel can turn, like, just do circles. The stick shift is amazing. The fire extinguisher, it's really cool how it's just back there and you can just grab it.
I keep checking out Clutch here because his tattoos, really nicely done, very good detail, and very crisp ink as well. Yeah, I love the sculpting of all of his web gear here. The vest, the belt, the tool belt.
The best part about him is definitely his helmet, and then his little belt on his thigh. That just has all the cool things. The screwdriver, the like wrench, the flashlight. Yeah, I love it, especially the vest and that pistol. It looks newer, but I think it's been used before.
Yeah, I see what you mean. On the console of the vehicle, these are some tampo designs that have been placed on here, and man, they are detailed.
Yeah, they're super detailed.
When you were describing it, I thought it was just, oh, there's even a keyboard.
Yeah, they put more detail in the car than they did on laptop. Flint's face.
Flint can't win when it comes to our channel here. Flint and Falcon together. Yeah, this stick shift is wicked.
Yeah.
Wow. And the floor inside has a nice texture to it. It's all detailed. The amount of detail that's gone into this is impressive.
Yeah.
And we didn't even check underneath either. Yeah, it looks decent.
Yeah.
I'm overall very impressed. It comes with an axe, the gas tanks. There are a lot of possibilities here for photography, probably endless possibilities here. It is too bad that there's not a ledge on the back where you have peg holes for the feet and you can have extra figures standing on the back easily. I think you gotta go to the black market for some of that stuff. If this was a HasLab, these would probably be LED lights that light up, and I'm sure there are ways to customize that as well. In the meantime, looks like $1 million. And I love that we're going to be able to mix and match who's in the car, driving the Jeep, sitting in shotgun, who's working the machine guns on the back. A lot of little accessories, but a lot of attention to detail. And the machine guns, of course, have those ports on the front for blast effects. We need to throw some blast effects on that, Dex.
Yeah.
This is going to be amazing to look at. And remember, if the VAMP is this good, just wait, because the Cobra Stinger is coming as well. That's going to go very well with the HMS. And it's just a matter of time before the G.I. Joe MMS is announced, and that can tow behind the VAMP. The packaging alone, awesome. First of all, big and bulky. It's got like the size of my torso here. Pretty cool. I mean, I'm blown away by this.
Thank you so much. I love this. It is amazing.
Yeah, big thank you to MVP Michael G. He's helped us out so much here on this channel. He also contributes with a lot of news tips, things that are happening. That's what a community is all about. We've got several people that help us out here, and that's the strength of Viper Island. We're able to bring all the community together from across the world and make sure that we keep G.I. Joe fans entertained and informed. This is awesome. Having something like this, we didn't have the ability to get it back then when it was first released. Now we will going forward, thanks to Hasbro. So we definitely appreciate everything that people out there do to help us out here, to help everyone else out, and especially Michael G. Awesome here. That's what makes him the MVP. And not only that, but he's also an active serving member of the U.S. military. He's elsewhere right now, and we have all kinds of insight coming directly from him that will be on upcoming episodes relating to actual military vehicles that he's worked with that could be coming soon in the line here for G.I. Joe Classified. So we're bringing all of this together. I've got the TV experience, so I'm able to do this. We've got people like MVP Michael G who are bringing the military experience in here. We've got Dex bringing a kid's perspective to the world of collecting action figures. I love it all together. All of us are bringing this community together. And what better way to celebrate than with the G.I. Joe VAMP?
It's amazing. I love it.
And this also marks a very special occasion because this is the last time that I will likely ever see this VAMP again, because in about 5 seconds, this will be in Dex's room and I'll never see it again. I love it. The big thing being undersold here is Clutch. What a great figure. Let's do it separately, right? Because we got a figure and a vehicle. Let's start with Clutch. What would you give Clutch out of 10?
I'd give him an 8.5 out of 10. I really like his helmet and everything and his accessories, but he's just missing something because they put all of the money into the VAMP.
I hear what you're saying, and I don't think it's a problem. I don't think he's missing anything. I think this is just, you know, he's a driver. He's not supposed to be the star of the show.
He doesn't need, like, a grenade launcher and all that sort of stuff.
So 8.5 for a character like that, especially a driver, really good, right? I'll give Clutch an 8.5 as well out of 10. I want to hear your guys' opinions, especially those who've already got the VAMP and Clutch. What would you give Clutch out of 10? I've got an 8.5, and that's a solid 8.5. And then let's move over to the VAMP. What would you give the Jeep, Dex?
A 10 out of 10. It's amazing with all the extra accessories on it and everything, and it's just beautiful.
I'm going to give it a 9.9. Just because. We know there's going to be something amazing, even better, that I'm going to say, okay, that's a 10 out of 10. Definitely this is a 10 out of 10. I'm just joking around, but I'm still going to go with 9.9 because why not? But wow, amazing.
It's amazing.
I don't know, like, is this possibly the best possible G.I. Joe vehicle that they could make? Because I think it is. It's a Jeep, it's a military vehicle, it's iconic. You've got things like the His Tank, which are amazing. That's a completely separate conversation because it's a HasLab. We're not talking about that. But in terms of G.I. Joe retail vehicles, this and the Thunder Machine, I think, are going to take the cake.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I love the machine guns and, like, all the lighting on it and everything, and it's so good.
And we get to mix and match the characters.
Yeah.
This is exactly why G.I. Joe took off. It wasn't just the great characters and the figures. The vehicles are what bring everything to life.
Yeah.
And makes it more realistic. And here we have a very realistic looking Jeep that a lot of attention was put into. So, from time to time, we talk about the good and the bad. Sometimes there are things that complain about, like the gummy weapons, which is still the case with the Maudus. So now it's time to hear your opinion. Drop your comments down below. Let's fill up the comments with everyone's take on the VAMP and Clutch and what vehicles you're hoping come next. I just mentioned the Dreadnought Thunder Machine. Dex, are there any vehicles that you're hoping come soon?
The Skyhawk, it looks awesome.
There we go. We got the Cobra Ferret on the way. Got the VAMP in hand here. Dreadnought Thunder Machine sometime soon.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we get to enjoy this VAMP. Huge thanks to MVP Michael G. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is awesome. For all of you out there who have your VAMP, we hope you're enjoying yours as well, just as much as we are. Any last words, Dex?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, great note to end on here. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. My name is Liam. You can follow me on Instagram at Viper Island. For all things G.I. Joe, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you want to support the show, smash that like button. Until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, have a great day, and yo Joe!